Elyakim. Oh, don't record me. And
I forgot to record, so if you could back up.
Please don't.
no. So anyway, bottom line, I call Elyakim and he says, oh, I live in Israel now. I'll be there in a couple of days. And he came. So this footage you're gonna see, it's still not finished, but hopefully, please God, this year. And so you'll see Elyakim in 2011 playing an actor who's playing an Elvis impersonator.
Amazing.
And then again, 10 years later, in 2021.
Okay, great. Yeah, you could just put it down. Go ahead. Let it rip.
I'm gonna do spinning.
Sorry, I have to interrupt.
Please, I don't want to hear anything about the Zoom.
They can't see it.
I don't care. They're not here. I'm sorry. We're not interrupting the system.
You want to do anything back and forth? Okay, Pam.
Loud?
Yeah.
We ready for the album?
Yeah, we're ready for now.
Ready for just.
Too low or too high? Is that good?
Yeah, this one, impersonator. Now it's impersonator.
I can remember Elvis having a beer.
I don't know. Each day.
I don't know. Kids in the sixties, he didn't have a beer in the 65.
Look at Frank. Frank, look at this clown, not the clown, and dump him. Jesse, get rid of him. Okay.
Restaurant, like in the West.
Hi, Chan.
Elvis.
Okay, it's a pleasure to meet you.
You're starting young, See, you had written a note that says my wife, she's so understanding, go back a note. And which is really helps her with my back, making weird best as a American. I keep taking up glasses and I work out. It really sits in the heads against the wall. She is.
Excuse me, can you take your glasses off? What's wrong with that?
Something else? Part of it?
Step them up, Bruce Switch. You can go anything, you don't step them up, Bruce Switch. Yeah.
Is it funny? You did cross over? Yeah, totally.
Great. Very.
Okay, now I want you to do this. I want you to go. Okay, cool. Awesome. Awesome. That's great.
Okay.
You're on the Bluetooth.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. We can get the lights back on when you have a second. That was beautiful. And if anyone who has to leave early, you got to see that amazing footage. So we're gonna start with the sphere of chesed, kindness. We're gonna ask 1 or 2 or 3 people to share a brief memory. Just come on up. Your name?
Yeah. Hi, my name's Shelley, and I moved from to New York from Australia in 2018, and I had a friend named Shirin Mustafa, and I really didn't know anyone. I didn't have anyone here that I knew. And when I moved, or maybe, and then when I moved here, she connected me with Elyakim. I don't know if I pronounced his name right. And we sort of connected in 2019. She said, we've got to meet this guy. And he really just took me under his wing. And I remember I was staying in Soho one time and I didn't have a Seder. And he arranged me to go to this most incredible Seder at this man in Soho who was really like out there and very interesting. And yeah, he just really looked after me. And I haven't forgotten that ever.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Any other, first of all, we start with Chesed, that's the order of the bottom 7 Sefirot. It all starts with Chesed, it all starts with the desire to give. The other Sefirot are trying to create a vessel for that, but it all starts with Chesed, yeah.
Hi, I'm Esther. I don't like public speaking, but I'm doing Chesed because we have to leave because mine has a school night. It's a school tomorrow. So there are so many different things that I could say about Elyakim, but I think that he was always working on overcoming the ego. And that to me was so surprising because he felt like one of the most egoless people that I've met. And just one thing about him is that like when I think about him, it's like whenever I was like, whenever I felt like I needed a friend, I don't know how. Rabbi, what was the secret? How did you do it? But he would just pop up out of nowhere and he was just there. He was like, I felt like you needed a friend. Like, I remember one time I was from Hungary and I just started driving in the US and it was very hard. And I was driving with my ex and he was late from work and he didn't park the car and he just jumped out of the car at the red light, and I was like on my own on Park Avenue, and it was very busy traffic, and I was like so shaken up, so scared, and like crying, and I was just saying a little prayer in my heart. I said, "Oh Hashem, I just really could use some help. I wish I had a friend right now." And right there, Elyakim appeared, and he said, "You need a friend?" And he just sat next to me, and he helped me navigate back to, I used to live back there at Mindy Ribner's 87th Street, all the way from Park Avenue. We navigated. Thank God we didn't have an accident or anything. And then right before he got out of the car, it turns out that he didn't even know how to drive. Yeah.
Great, one last Chesed story. Hi, Deborah.
So I was fortunate enough to meet Elyakim when I got engaged in 2014. And he became the best man at our wedding, and he really freed me up to be the kallah because he was totally taking care of my husband. And my husband was his teacher of piano, bought him his first piano, and he was really a disciple to the point of actually copying my husband and playing in train stations, every train station in Israel, as you may have heard. And my husband taught him to do that, to reach out to people, Jews everywhere, through music and dance. And also, I have to say, I was lucky enough to be a student of Shlomo for 20 years. And Elyakim was never physically met him, but he did everything that Shlomo told a student to do. He was almost a perfect student of Shlomo. He reached out to people. He said hello. He made friends. He sang and danced at a hospice every Friday morning for patients in Jerusalem. And then when they had the Nova, people were recovering, the people who survived. He went and sang with them, did music therapy with them. And he truly, truly was my best friend also. And I was very lucky enough to speak to him on the phone just a week or two before he died. And he sent me a text I didn't understand saying that I thought he was still in New York. And he said he was in Williamsburg. So I called him about this. He said, what do you mean Williamsburg? I looked on the map. I couldn't find any Williamsburg in Israel. And I haven't been here in 3 years. Maybe it was a new town. He says, no, I don't know why I taught that. And then I said to him, wait a minute. He never complains on anything. You'll never hear him complain about anything. I said, are you in a lot of pain? Are you on a lot of painkillers? And he admitted he was. And he was still in the hospital. And they told him to go home to rest. And I said, oh, stay there, till you're out of pain. And but I got to speak to him, and he was so loving and so kind. And he came over our home many times and we jammed, we played music with him in New Jersey and other places. And he encouraged me to sing and write songs. And he was just, like they said at the people, everybody's best friend. And he never complained, not one word of Lashon Hara, never cursed. I mean, he really was a true disciple of Reb Shlomo in every way, and I love him. And now Yanni's going to have said briefly. Okay, come on, Yanni. Yeah, Hesed.
Come on, Jan, you're gonna sing a song.
She was nice, so. Just talk, this is Gvura Shebechesed, we're gonna hold back to the Chesed for a second, Gvura Shebechesed. Here we go, but you're on deck, you're on deck. She's Chesed.
After her.
So I'm just going to share a little bit from what I had prepared, specifically in relation to Chesed. Just you couldn't meet a person that was more naturally in the mode of Chesed than Elyakim. He just was so connected with every person that he met. He just lit you up every time you were with him. You could talk for hours with him about anything. And he would also, he would be wise counsel, and then he would also talk about some of the struggles that he himself was dealing with in terms of trying to have more personal growth and closeness to Hashem and things like that. So I guess I just wanted to mention two quick things in relation to just a personal sense of my encounter with him and Chesed. It's been mentioned about his caring for other people, and he connected with homeless people and invited them to come over and stuff like that in a very personal kind of way. And he did a lot of Makarev work, and he was very connected to Israel, which is why I'm wearing Israeli jewelry in his honor and memory. And there are two things that I'm very involved in the arts. So there are two things that I remember in relation to that. We were in plays together and things like that. And I remember he's doing beatbox and shapes of plastic wrap when I was doing a rapid Purim spiel here in the Kabbalah. It's really fun. But two things in relation to theater that connected deeply to me with her. One is I have an annual musical event and a gathering, and it was on Zoom, during the pandemic and stuff like that.
I met him.
And last year, I remember he was there from the beginning until the end, and it was 4 hours long. I didn't have anyone, not even my closest friends, who stayed that long. And it's like you wonder what's going on, and in retrospect, I realized that somewhere his neshama knew that this was the last time that he would be able to do that. And the other thing is that the last play that we were in together was based on a wonderful movie, It's a Wonderful Life. And I was in it a couple times. It was an online thing during the pandemic, and we were short a couple people. So I thought, oh, maybe Elyakim is available, because he's always a spontaneous. Okay, this sounds interesting. I'll do it, and so he was. And then backtracking, I'm thinking about the whole theme of It's a Wonderful Life. Is someone explaining to a person that was depressed how all the people they helped, and how the world was a totally different place because of their impact. And I have to say to you, Elyakim, you had a wonderful life. You knew how to light people up.
Thank you, John. Okay, Yanni, come here. We're gonna all sing together, B'Shem Hashem. You know that song? It was sung at the Shlomo's funeral. But Elyakim, the last funeral that was really, and maybe not the last, but one reminiscent of Reb Shlomo's funeral, was Eliakim's funeral, the way they sang when they brought him to be buried, and when they actually buried him, very, very deep. You know the B'Shem Hashem? Yeah. Everybody, please join. Yeah. Wow. Hard to believe that he's. Anyway, one of the really highlights thing of Elyakim that he was my best man in my wedding with Bora 8 years ago. But let's go a little bit earlier, end of the 90s, 2000. I was playing in the Daily Casbah here on 85th Street, and Elyakim came to listen to me. And he asked me if I can teach him how to play. Sure, I got him a keyboard, and I started to teach him. He was staying by then in near Comfort apartment on 85th Street, and they did the lesson. The first thing that he really wanted to learn is SONI. Okay. Now, this is what we're going to do after I say what I say. The thing is this, I was staying there once in a while, stay overnight, and one morning, Elyakim told me where I can daven in a late minyan in the morning. You know, musicians usually late people. 10 a.m. in the morning, that's a big deal. So he took me to Rabbi Foreign, Rabbi Moshe. That time, 25 years ago, they daven there 10 o'clock. Now they daven only 8:30. And all right. So okay. And then Elyakim, you know, he was traveling all over the world for his job. So whenever he came in town, he came to us to visit and took from me piano lessons, and of course, Esson and I. Yeah, he really was an amazing person, you know, and I just show up sometime here, sometime over there, whatever, you know, Elyakim, present. So let's sing SONI because this was really Eliakim's favorite. And this is the first tune that he learned how to play.
I'm gonna do a little Chazal of it.
We do to deserve this.
Hashem.
Thank you, Yaniel. Beautiful. Are we doing Gvura?
Yeah, we're moving on to Gevura.
I mean, the truth is, with Elyakim, it should only be Chesed.
No. We gotta get to at least Tiferet.
Nobody wants to be Gvura.
No. Yeah, come on up. Gvura gets a bad rap. Gvura's like severe, harsh. Gvura just means limits, accepting limits. So that was not easy for Elyakim to do. He was such an unlimited person. But you know, is there anything where any story you have about overcoming something? Yeah, you got to. We have two. We have
Come on,
time for
both
two.
of you come on up
Two,
together.
and that's it. This is Gvura time. Two, and that's it.
2 minutes, 2 minutes with both of you.
Yeah.
All right, hi, I'm Jody. I'm gonna summarize 25 years of beloved friendship for you in a minute. Here we go. Gvura.
That's not Gvura, I don't know what it is.
Gvura. Last year, a dear Bo at the time, you know how that goes, was running a class and they were not helping him with the audiovisual. So I called Elyakim and I was like, I need somebody who can get here for me, not asking him to do it at all. So he rattles off 3 people. Then he starts to rattle off all the skill sets that would be necessary to pull this thing off in the way it needed to be pulled off. And he's like, all right, I'm in. But you got to get me a parking spot. I'm like, it's it's the east side of Manhattan. I'm supposed to get you a parking spot. He's like, all right, I'm coming in. Hashem's going to get me a parking spot. And he came in 9 out of the 12 weeks. And I promise you 9 out of those 12 weeks, he got a parking spot right across the street from him.
Wow.
There we go.
Okay.
What else can I tell you? And the Gevura. Well, this was a little Gevura on Jody's part. I had met this incredible teacher when I was in Israel about 20-something years ago by the name of Abraham Sutton. Some of you might know him. And at the end of
He's right
yes,
here.
yes.
He's right here.
At the end of the class, he said, Jody, you know what? You gotta come home and meet my wife. Come for Shabbos to tell Star. And I said, not like the most chutzpah thing I may have ever said. I was like, can I bring a friend? And he said, yes. And I called Elyakim and I was like, I don't care what you think you're doing for Shabbos, you're coming. And as soon as the two of them met, the sparks flew and they haven't stopped flying. I just want to say one more thing in that element, which is that everybody thinks that Elyakim was like elevated. He was elevated. He was born elevated. We get that. But this boy worked every single day of his life, every minute, every step he took was to seek out the holiest, the kindest, the wisest teachers, not the ones that would just blow wind up his skirt, like we like to say, but the ones that would really make him work for it. And he worked for it every day. And each and every one of us is the beneficiary of that. And I just ask that we bring him forward with us because I don't want to be here without him personally. So if each and every one of you would do a little something to keep me here, I appreciate it.
Hi, so my name is Theo, and wow, look at my people. So great. Me and Elyakim for a long time, I guess, years. For years we used to do these dinners at the JCC called New Shabbat Table, and I was very shy. I was very shy. He was not. We'd have these like long conversations often about religion, and he was religious, very religious. I was not so religious. And one time we had a conversation about Pesach. And I said, I don't really understand the laws of kashrut for Pesach. Do you understand? I mean, am I crazy or am I crazy? And he said, yeah, I don't understand either. But he said, the laws of kashrut for Pesach are the proof that you really believe in God, because it's so contradictory. It doesn't make any sense. You believe in it anyways. And I thought, I'm not sure I get that, but I still think about it all the time. And I really thank him. I really think he was like kind of a spiritual mentor for me for many, many, many years. And I miss him, and I'm sure he got in, as you said, he's lighting the whole place up. So he was really good.
It's never too early to start worrying about cleaning for Pesach. Okay, so great. So we had some kindness and we had some like real gura finding a parking space on the east side and cleaning our house for Pesach. So now it's time to harmonize and bring kindness and gura together to create balance, harmony, grace, the sphere of Tiferet. We have time for one or two people to share a Tiferetic story. And if you have a story to share and you're not sure it's Tiferet or not, that's fine. Unfortunately, yes. Tiferet means beauty or grace or balance.
I think you're next.
Okay, not sure I could do this justice, but here goes. I was just came off of a 4 o'clock Torah class with Chaim David Eric Tarragon in memory of you. Learning guided meditation. Chaim David used to be part of the Harbach Circle, I believe, if you recall. So the last time I was here was amazingly with Rob Brandwein, November 2nd, some decade ago. Rob Brandwein was brought here through, okay, backtrack. I was introduced to a Kabbalah class, which Gabrielle also was involved with. This Kabbalah class with Rob Brandwein's student, Elyakim introduced me to. So, and I've actually met Rob Brandwein. I heard his Torah class right here. So thank you for that. Elyakim, back to him. He introduced me to this Torah class, which I got very heavily interested in for several years. So how to tie in the story. I don't know if you recall, we came to visit you. I drove Elyakim to a silent meditation. Was that it? Oh, wow. Yes, 100 years ago. And we went to go have this experience, and I know it seems so silly to say, but like who else would join me on such a journey? It was just, it had to be Elyakim. There's so many memories flooding back right now. I don't know where to start, but that's one that kind of ties in. a lot of different elements of Eliakim's diverse and generous and kind nature, because these 12 classes meant so much to me. So did the experience, the friendships, and so many lessons learned. I just get very emotional being here, because really, the last time we were here was with Rob Brunwine, who, Alav Shalom, is also not with us. So Cornell and Bracha, and we were commemorating, what were we commemorating?
His yard site,
The yard sale.
a day before Elyakim. Wow. My grandma's yard site.
No, he brought up Williams. Oh. I'm so happy. Thank you for remembering that. I just, wow, really? That was the.
I didn't know.
I thought what we were doing, and please, my memory is jogging. I believe that. Or that's why I could be mistaken. Maybe we came on the Mars. But it was a very exciting thing to bring all the pieces of that Torah class together. And thanks to Elyakim, really. The balance pieces together, I guess. Should have.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were already.
Why
don't you? Elyakim and the Spirit Trail.
Well, I will say,
You were a big part of that.
what's your name? I'm Devorah. The Spirit Trail is for me so profound, connecting. And Elyakim was big shaliach for that with me, and we worked together 2 different years. And remember, we built the booths. So we spent weeks preparing for the first one that was in that was the second one in Riverside Park. And mine was to pair it. And because each of us who did that part of it took a different spira and designed. We had these giant cardboard boxes that we painted and created some interactive thing with the people that would be walking through the spirit trail to be able to really experience the inside of this. And for a few weeks we prepared, and Rabbi Citrin gave some great, really penetrating teachings to all of us who were going to be working on it, so that we would have a really strong foundation to connect with when we were creating our part of the spiritual. And Elyakim and I spent a lot of time together on this. And he was like, he was the shaliach between all this spiritual. He really was. And not just in that project, but just thinking about it in this moment. That's what his life was like. That's what his life was about. And that's what he brought to us. So, like Jody said, we need to carry it forth. And don't say goodbye to him. Don't say goodbye to what he gave you. Really light it up and grow it and shine it out, because that's what he was about and that's what he wanted for all of us.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we got through, we had this desire to give. We hit up some limitations, lack of parking spots, that kind of thing. somehow we made it through the limitations and we found some balance.
I'm Mitchell Jed, I was a friend of ours in Kinstlinger. I like to, I remember him, he always, every time he would see me, he would try to open my sinuses. So someone with terrible allergies. And I used to talk to him on the phone. He was a real great person. He just drove us home in a car from the synagogue to the white man's house. And he used to, then we started the white man's house, and I had a fun with him. He came to my home, and he talked to them as staff at the home and all that. I like to dedicate a song. Timbola, 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 timbola,
Okay, so, yeah.
So beautiful. I just wanted, I trying in honor of the Ishbitzer Rebbe to take a minute a day. He says to do an hour a day to have private solitude, to think about your avodat Hashem, your service of God. So one of the ways I do it is I stop during the davening for a minute or two. And today I stopped at that the angels in heaven ask each other permission before they say God is holy. That's a beautiful part of the davening. And I did a little meditation, and it was Elyakim. Who was connecting us, giving permission for the different people that don't ordinarily cross paths. The different synagogues from the different denominations, the different rabbis from the different continents, and he was connecting us together. Most of us have like our communities and our associations. And Elyakim had something about him that he was the Tiferes. I thought of him originally as Chesed. Everybody knows he is Chesed, he is love. But he really connected so many of us. And I spent a month with him. Spent the whole month with him. I don't remember. It's like, it feels like he moved into my apartment. I was here. When I moved to New York, I just say I was a bachelor for the first month. I wasn't a bachelor. I was married at the time, but my kids were in school in Florida. So I was on my own for a month, and Elyakim would talk to me every night for sometimes for 2 hours. 2 hours. He was like a sponge. He just wanted to like, whatever I knew, he wanted to know it, and then he wanted to spit it back at me with his kind of thing. And that's, the spirit trail really came out of that, and many other things. But he was really that connection to so many people. And that's why it's amazing, so beautiful to see this. I mean, there's the actual Shiva going on in Jerusalem, and there's so much learning. There's so much, it's really a testimony to the greatness of this man.
Thank you, Rabbi. So speaking of angels, this just in, this is a new Torah, as far as I know. New Torah. So, and it's true, Elyakim worked hard on Tiferet. He worked on that a lot. He worked on that a lot, finding the balance and not just staying with that desire to give, to find that balance, find that place where you could be open to kind of different inputs. So this just in, there's a moment in the Tanakh where our father Jacob is blessing Joseph's two children, Ephraim and Manasseh. Manasseh is older, Ephraim is younger. Joseph puts his children in front of his father, and for some reason, Jacob switches the hands, right? Okay. So and Joseph's a little disturbed by this, and Jacob says it's okay. So this just in, what's happening there is a transition from Tiferet to Netzach and Hod. And there's a switch. Okay. There can be a switch. It doesn't always go linear when you bring it down. And so Netzach, the right hand went to this one, and the left hand went to that one. And so from that place of balance and from that place of blending, new things are born. And they're not direct reflections of what came before them. They have their own whole new thing. So if it's okay, we'll sing the song. This was also sung at the Levaya of this sacred moment where Jacob, putting his hands on his grandchildren, invokes his own father and grandfather as well. Allah, Mala Pagoel Simi Kolam Yevarel Esaneo Vikavel Vahem Shemi Mala Pagoel Simi Amala Pagoel Simi Kolam Yevarel Esaneo Vikavel Vahem Shemi V'Shema Osa V'Shema Osa V'Shema Vosa, V'Shema Vosa, So Netzach is translated as eternity. It also means an attainment, something, a spiritual attainment. Once you attain it, it's there forever. So and if anyone we have time maybe for one or two people to share anything that you feel like Elyakim attained or helped you attain, helped you emerge victorious from something. Yeah, okay, great. We have a few customers. Wonderful. Thank you.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jessica. Jessica. Yeah, I go to, Red Light Views. I know Mitchell. I'm glad you spoke up. That was beautiful. Thank you. Elyakim was a wonderful person, such an amazing, you know, he had a great sense of humor, very excellent, made a lot of people laugh, and, besides a sweetheart, he'll always be my sweetheart, of course. And the one thing that I always remember, and it breaks my heart, you know, but at least remembering that where he passed away is a place where he would have always wanted to pass away, because I always remember him saying, Israel is my home. And I'll always remember him. And at least now I know that a beautiful shining star made it to heaven. And when I think of him, that's where I look up. Thank you, Hashem, for allowing me to have the opportunity to have known such a beautiful person. And one thing, he always loved his guitar. He loved his music. Thank you so much for allowing me to talk.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Carrie. I met Elyakim in my 20s, setting up concerts with the Razels, who are very close friends. And I always seem to come in contact with Elyakim. And many years later, I got to know him even better because I live in the same community as his sister, Dina, and family, and their children. And Elyakim would always knock on my back door, ready for music, ready for anything at any time. And so this is a song that we played together. He wanted to learn all the chords on guitar. I play piano. I'm a violinist, but I thought it would be fitting. B'Shem Hashem is something that he loved, so you can sing along. I'm gonna hand the mic.
We did a practice run.
Oh, you did? Oh, I was late.
I'll hold the mic.
I was looking for a parking spot.
Oh, but
I
you
didn't get-
found a parking spot, right?
Well, you didn't have a violin, so what's a yiddle without a fiddle, you know? So here you go.
Don't need that.
We just want to show everybody who's here, so we're gonna. Gotta go lower. They don't, you only see the.
And on the phone.
Sit down, sit down. We want to hear more from you. Don't go away. Don't go away.
I know that Elyakim would be so happy to see everybody here. He wouldn't be surprised, but I think he'd be so happy.
A lot of.
Yeah,
people want to say.
so we'll go to, from Netzach Attainment, and victory, we'll move to
Go
Hode,
ahead, Rabbi,
acknowledgement.
yeah, come on up, come on
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
The Eliakim's collaborators, I think you were God, right?
Oh, yeah, we have the play here.
It's online.
Not focusing.
There was one of the secrets that I really figured out, me and my best friend. I was thinking that.
It's, Rabbi Neil from Fleischman.
I was thinking about how you walk down the street and stop random people, and maybe every other one would say, Elyakim was my best friend. And I was thinking about it. Best friend can mean different things. I think he was my friend who was best at being a friend. Best friend. Again, we'd all look at each other and be like, you know him? How'd you know him? And I made a movie with him. I did play with him. We went on a trip. We went here, we went there. Anytime I mentioned anything to him, he wouldn't let it go. I know people, including myself, who sometimes don't let go of things in a not so helpful way. He would only not let go. You know, it's natural. He wouldn't let go in the most constructive, positive way. If I told him I want to volunteer in Israel, I would get 10 ideas a day from then on. I told him I was looking for a new job. I'd get 10 ideas every day.
Wow.
And in the most positive way, he'll never let go of any of us. He'll never let go of the positive of him, which is only positive.
Yeah. Okay, so there's next up, we're gonna move to Hode now, Daniel. Say something? You're welcome to. Not yet, okay. Andy? So Hode, is the mysterious spirit. It's about letting go, and it's about standing in awe of creation and standing in awe of ourselves and standing in awe of each other. Something bigger than me is unfolding here. Amy?
Shy.
Oh, shy and then.
Shy and then.
Shy and then.
It's really wonderful to see everybody here who's giving such tribute to such a very special person, and it's really heartwarming. And talk about Hode and majesty, which was really very much a description of Elyakim. And you know, we talked about Gevura before, and you know, running a shul, sometimes you need a little bit of Gevura, but you need an antidote to that. And Elyakim was my antidote for that. I remember him standing right over here in the corner, and he would daven, and he would really daven, and he would daven with his hands, and he would
Whole body.
his whole body, and he was such an inspiration. I think that's the people. It was people like him who attracted me to the Carpop Shul, because I needed that. I needed that. You know, I still need it, but maybe I'll get it a little bit over time. And I just it's because there are people like Elyakim who walk the path of this world that we're all so much better for it. And it's we all need to try to take a little bit of what he imparted to us with us, and I'm going to try and do that as well. Give up a little bit of the Gevura, take more of the hope. So thank you.
Amy, thank you.
Very good, thank you. I'm Amy Wachtel. First of all, there are some of you who are saying, how you know Elyakim? I'm at the point, and I think many of us are, I don't even remember. I don't remember if it was through Heeb, if it was through Karlbach, if it was through the Upper West Side. It was just this exciting Jewish time in like the early 2000s through, I don't even know when, but there was just so much interconnecting. You might have your one shul or your main teacher, but everyone cross-pollinated, and somehow Elyakim was part of that. And I mentioned this on our Zoom the other night. I find it fascinating that the fall that seems to ultimately have led to his ascension occurred on Shabbos, on Friday night. I don't know what it means, but I can't help but notice it, and it's something to just think of. So two things that Elyakim did that was like miracles for me. One was, it was near Purim, and he put out an email probably. You know, it's hard to remember when we didn't have Zoom and
Here's Elyakim.
you texted group text, WhatsApp, but maybe it was just an email about a meeting at someone's apartment across from the park for the Purim Spiel, to put together the Karlbach Purim Spiel, and I went, and somehow myself and my friend Sam wrote the Purim Spiel for this amazing holy place. Neither of us were members, and it was the day spiel. And like that, I can't believe that it's in my resume, so to speak, that I once co-wrote the Karlbach Schul's Purim Spiel. That is Gewalt. And Elyakim was totally the connector, you know, so that's amazing. And there was one time, I guess his parents were moving, they were downsizing from the house in New Jersey. And somehow I was there to help. And yet I got sent home with, like, you know, the Cracker Jack prizes. I have this Yankee ring, a New York Yankee ring. For any haters in the room, please hold that hate. This is an Elyakim story. And for the lovers, like, he gave me this, you know, like 1990s Yankee ring. So that was like, wow. And I can't remember what else. I have a lot of vintage things, but there was some like 1970s toy. I don't know, was it Batman? Something. I will find it one day. And he gave that to me. And I went there to help him, you know, but I came home with like prizes. And I guess the last thing is when we heard the news, was it Monday morning? Sunday? I mean, Tuesday morning. I have to say, it's the first time when I've heard of someone's passing, I really couldn't say Baruch Dayan. And I couldn't say it. No, I just couldn't. And now we are here a few days into it. Baruch Dayan. And maybe we have a neshama and love to.
Thank you, man. Beautiful. Well, maybe we'll do a little nigun or whatever you guys.
This is about the embodiment of Elyakim, who loved people and he loved Israel. You know, he loved Jerusalem.
This is the house of the Lord. I raise our hands for you. This is the house. This is the. This is the house. All right, we can't leave Hode without telling you all about Eliakim's dream of creating a Jewish high school for the arts. Okay, hold some space. Just take that in for a few seconds. Hold some space for that. The Elyakim, Alexander Jewish High School for the Arts, campus in Manhattan's Upper West Side, campus in Jerusalem, campus in Malaysia. Okay, Modine, LA, yeah, next to the Happy Million, of course. Okay, please hold some space in your heart for that. We need that art. Hode is the sphere of art. I should have mentioned that. Hode is the sphere of art. Hode is the sphere of expression. And it's associated with Eliyahu Navi as well. But you know, you can ask me about that after. We're gonna move to, well, I don't know, everyone was Eliakim's best friend, and every sphere was Eliakim's favorite sphere. So this next one's also Eliakim's favorite sphere. Sphere of Yesod, sphere of connection, sphere of bonding. Okay, so this was a big one. We talked a lot about this one, the two of us. So if anybody has a special story, yes, come. Special story about connection, bonding. Yeah.
I'm Nava Sultan. All the words and the music, everything is so beautiful and meaningful. I just want to say that I had the great privilege of seeing Elyakim play guitar, along with my husband, is actually at OZ at the time, and I brought all of my kids, and talk about connection. He could bring the music and the spirituality and the love, and that gorgeous, beautiful, warm smile. The combination of that warm smile and his beautiful musical talent and passion really was such a great thing to hear, but also a great dugma, great example for my kids.
Beautiful, amazing. But yeah, it's true. A lot of what Eliakim's life was about keeping that inner child alive, and not just alive, but thriving. It's a beautiful thing. His connections with children were really inspiring. Anybody else have a story or a Torah or a Storah or a, yeah, go on. Yeah, okay.
Limit it to one. Okay, 30 seconds.
All right.
We're really trying.
We're trying.
One shot.
You only get one shot, but okay. You were his best friend, right?
He was, like everybody said, was very inspiring to people. And so when I got married, he came to my wedding, and when I pray, I like to sometimes jump into the air. And so he got up and he gave a toast, and he made 200 people stand up. And he said, "Now everybody jump into the air." People did. It was great.
Okay.
Okay, that was definitely worth it. That was worth it. Oh, here we go.
Hi, I'm Tanya. you sowed connection. I don't actually remember where I met Elyakim. It's probably here. But with close friends, how the next time you see them, you just pick up where you were. But with Elyakim, we actually never were close friends. But when I saw him, I felt like we were, meaning we were really just acquaintances, but we had that connection as if we had these deep conversations prior, but we never actually had them. Just, I don't know if that makes sense. It's just with this passion, this connection.
Another realm, we all did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the story with Achi, Gabrielle, was many of you know our dear friend Talia Ronsky. And part of Elyakim's legacy is her beautiful shidduch and a beautiful marriage with Mayor Simcha. And at that chasana, at that wedding, Elyakim would not stop dancing and jumping and singing. But after the henna, the china, whatever we called it, we actually stayed up all night in Yerushalayim, a group of us, connection. And the night involved dancing with some young teenagers who were on a tour from America, who did not really have such a strong Jewish education, but we were benching and they wanted to bench with us. So it went from benching to Mechal Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayim Mesim B'Rachamim Rabim. So Mechal Zerel Techolim, O Matir Asurim, O Mechayim and Naso, the resonance of those words. And it was beautiful that we just sang that in a joyful way. But here were these kids. They knew benching, the first paragraph. They knew that. And then we went into like a Adon Olam. And then after, we stayed up, and then Elyakim and I don't remember the other gentleman's name.
Right, this was the person that Elyakim dragged.
Yeah.
Elyakim plus one.
The guy. He came with us.
None of us knew him.
And I was like, I haven't been to the hotel yet. And so we walked for Basikin. And the last time I'd been in Israel, I was always like, oh, you go through their meeting card. They're like, we're going through the Arab Shuk. And there was just such joy. And that's when I had actually one of the first deep conversations with Elyakim, which was supposed to be chapter 2, chapter 10 from our previous conversations that we never had. And so that walk from the Shuk area to the Kotel that night. And then they walked me and we stood in front of the Kotel. And I thought it was the Lehitraot. He brought us together and Mechal Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayim Mesim B'Rachamim.
Thank you, Rabbanit Tanya. Thank you.
Should I share?
Yeah. Okay. And Daniel?
Hello?
Introduce yourself.
So my name is Naomi Cadet, and I'm actually saying this not on my behalf, but someone asked me who couldn't come today to say a story, which I think combines all the Sphira together.
Amazing, which is what you're supposed to do, right? Perfect.
So this is, so Barbara Katai had, a friend of ours, Yisrael Finman, Oliver Shalom, had passed. And when Barbara didn't have a ride, and somehow she came across Elyakim, and he had a car, he got a car somehow, and he took her to the Shiva. And they were obviously, they were Karlabachians. A number of us had been there before, but they were supposed to finish at 10, they just arrived at 10. So, and, you know, and there have been, again, many people who were there. And yet, when Elyakim came, he brought this kind of energy to the Shiva that his children, his children really appreciated so much. And that there were stories he kept telling about their father that perhaps they knew, perhaps they didn't know. And then afterwards, they must have left maybe 11, no, I think they left like 12 o'clock. You know, very, you know, true to being a Karlovakian. So they left and they went to the water, to the ocean. And whatever water is there, I don't know whatever was in Brooklyn. And they come stop, it must have been, what was it?
Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, Atlanta. So then they got out of the car and they passed by, and like I said, we've got to stop. We've got to get out. We've got to, you know, look at God's, you know, wonderful creation here. And again, it was like maybe 10 degrees out or something like that. I don't remember. This is, again, I'm relaying Barbara's story. So they got out and they went on the rocks, and then they just looked up to the sky and saw the beautiful stars that Hashem has created in this whole world. And for Barbara, that was a really meaningful time, and it kind of, you know, brought together, you know, the chesed of paying a shiva call to the end of kind of just, you know, appreciating God's creation, and I think it's just kind of a full circle of the amazing person that Elyakim is.
Daniel? Did Daniel come on
I'm Daniel Cronengold. I've been a rabbi in the Bronx for 15 years. And I met Elyakim when Rabbi Naftali became the rabbi at the park events.
Spirit Trail. Black Womack Spirit Trail, probably.
And maybe before that. I got code. That was very meaningful. Let's do that again. Very meaningful education. But I became close to him 15 years ago because he had Shimon Lerner substitute for me, and he met me at the Shabbat table at the Padez that he's going to substitute at Young Israel, the Baychester. Actually put his Shimon Lerner's name on the rabbi's door over there. And he told, I'm sure it was Kim to the Shabbat table at the Padez, and then my grandparents were the leaders there, for the president of the sisterhood. He came many times, especially the last year and a half when I changed schools. I thought this was about grandparents. Grandparents' names were on the one of the covers of the Sefer Torah. We would proudly open the Aro and take photos. And I changed schools. And I thought that Elyakim is not going to come very much. He came more. Last 2 years, he came more. I think he found his mission in helping people, really, and bringing the light of God to them. I have current congregants here. Now, this was an honor. Again, Elyakim knew all of them, and he chose to come to shuls that had a lot less people. And he came the last year or so, he would come with the guitar. And the guitar, he owes me the guitar, by the way. I gotta get that guitar back, I think. Yeah, he owes me my house keys. He also was,
Yes, your house keys.
it's the honorary room, but he was a roommate for like a couple months after. The honorary roommate.
Great musical jams.
So, I mean, this is surreal that he's gone. He would go back between whatever country, the last time I asked him where he was in Germany. And I was looking forward to whenever he come back here. Went to Israel and I mean, I think what happened is that God just decided to take him. I mean, no one dies from breaking their leg. I don't know if we know. I think that was a cover up. Yeah, that wanted him for himself. I mean, it was time. He lived a full life. He lived a life of joy. And yeah. Yeah, he'll be Melee Yosher. A good advocate for us all. Look forward to seeing him again.
Thank you.
For yourself.
Wait, so one more for yourself.
Yes, sir. One more for yourself. Introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Elyakim. Love hearing all the stories. I didn't know Elyakim for that long. I knew him for about a year, and just we're able to, like somebody said, make those connections, even though we didn't know each other for that long. He was always sharing everything he had with me and everyone around him. The one thing that really connects to Yisod that I wanted to share, that I saw this a number of times, where he was talking to someone, he was hanging out with someone, and it was clear to me that he knew them for a long time. So later on, I went to him and I said, where do you know that person from? And he said, oh, I just know them. And that just was with everybody that was around him, that he just knew them forever, even if he had just met them.
All right. So from connection, we move to Malchut. Malchut is the sphere of lifting up the sparks, making good choices that lift up the sparks. Yeah, you want to share something?
Guys, my name is Tzvi. I know some of you guys, but most of you guys don't know me. I'm gonna apologize in advance because story I'm gonna tell you guys, it's gonna seem like I'm talking about myself, but I can assure you, I promise you that at the end you'll see how it's Elyakim. So a few years ago, I had the merit to live in Crown Heights, and so I didn't grow up religious, but I was born in Ukraine, and I found out later, you know, that my grandfather, my father's father, was born in Berditchev, even though I wasn't. I was born in Lvov. So I was in Crown Heights, and I found out that I guess the Levi Yitzhak of Berditchev was, I guess, somehow a mechutan of the Alter Rebbe. I guess, correct me if I'm wrong. So some friends and I were talking about shidduchim, and I was like, I came up to my friend who actually grew up with Lubavitch. I told my friend, hey man, do you think I could use this as like a
Rocky, come here. Rocky,
he's
come
like,
here.
good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Okay, what are you doing? I don't understand what he's doing.
It was like a funny thing, right? But it's like, yeah, whatever. So then years go by, and this is already like just before COVID, and I moved.
Where though?
I'm sorry, I used to live in this when I came back. And right when I moved back, this is right before COVID. So through a friend, I was introduced to Elyakim, and I was actually in his office where he worked, wherever it was. And then Elyakim starts this whole thing with me, like talking and schmoozing and laughing and joking. And then he starts kind of doing this whole like Jewish geography thing. I can't stand Jewish geography. I want to have just conversation with people. I'm like, where are you from? Where are you this?
Yeah, that's fine.
But it turned out we were both Jersey guys. He's from, I guess, Englewood. I'm from Fairlawn, but I grew up secular, whatever. He grew up from. So he's asking me, he's like, where are you from? And by me, it's a loaded question because it's like Ukraine, this, that. And I go, well, I was really born in Ukraine. And then he's just like, he hears Ukraine. He's like, Uman, you went to Uman? You're from Uman? Did you go to Uman? You're from Uman? I was like, I did not have the merit to go to Uman. I'd love to go to Uman. Okay? Never had the merit, and whatever it is, you know, I didn't even know about Uman because, you know, religion was illegal in the Soviet Union, whatever. So, okay. a few months later, so COVID hits, whatever it is, but then Elyakim messaged me, he's like, dude, come to Rabbi Bramwine's minyan in the old city. This is the son, I guess. If I'm not mistaken. Invites me, he's like, oh, we'll have a meal in the old city, some family, whatever it is, come to the minyan, we'll do the minyan. And I, do the minyan, Kabbalat Shabbat, everything, and so everybody like goes separate ways, and he goes to me, Rabbi Brandwine, he's like some kind of descendant of the Levi Yitzhak. I'm like, oh wow, among other people, there's like 3 other people that he's descendant of, people in Hasidus, whatever it is. So everybody scatters, goes to their meals, and it's just me and Elyakim and the Rav and like a gabbai there. And he's like, come, meet the rabbi. I'll introduce you to rabbi. He's like, he wrote the sefer, he shows me the sefer that he wrote. And then he brings me over to the rabbi and he goes, Benu, it's like, the Berditchever over here. I was just like, dude, what are you talking about? He's like, Berditchev, right? My father's father from Berditchev. That's it, bro. I was born in Lvov. That's all I got. And he just keeps pushing this Berditchev thing. We're at Brian White, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so screwed, man. Like I gotta live up to this thing, and I gotta I don't know what I have to do now. I'm not. So, my friends, I want to tell you, this was Elyakim. You found the thing that you have. Like a lot of us, I don't know about you guys, we forget the greatness that we have in us. We forget. We don't know what we have. We don't know what we possess. We don't know what's going on. We have a whacked out perception of ourselves. This is a guy who could see you. Like he and I used to hang out. Like we used to see each other here. I also similar. I was going 6 months back and forth, America, Israel, back and forth. So he made me feel like I wasn't crazy. It's another guy doing that stuff. And he would see me and he would just find the things, and just elevate you up to, in this case, it was Malchut. It was like Livia Sekher with that Rhine wine, Jerusalem, old city. I have nothing else to say, guys. It's just incredible.
No, no one's in the bathroom. You got it from behind I think like near the chair in the dining room. There's steel wool on all the walls wherever there's holes, Dave. There's a lot of steel wool around there. We're trying wherever there's holes to keep the mice.
We're gonna do Rav Levi Yitzchak Berditchev's nigga.
I mean, I can see and make sure it's all.
Fun fact, don't know if you know this, Levi Yitzchak in Gematria, Od Yosef.
Good.
Just saying. Look out. Come at you. You know. Yeah. Yeah. Three, four. Orech yamim asmienu, ben avenu yeshuati. Orech yamim asmienu, ben avenu yeshuati. Orech yamim asmienu, ben avenu yeshuati. Orech yamim Vishnuati, my power. Oh, Yami, must be a very Yami, must be
I don't know if any of you saw what I just saw, but I saw Elyakim dancing. Saw Elyakim with us, dancing with us.
There's a con anywhere.
His whole being. His whole being. I just wanna open it up for a few other people who want to share without the sphere, without any labels. Come ahead, Elisa. Okay, Pesh, and then Elisa.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Somebody was on the way up. Go ahead. It's Eliakim's way to just make way for everyone else.
A lot of people mentioned like a lot of Elyakim qualities here. And then Malcolm was kind of the culmination of all of them. And so, people mentioned, that he was like always running and always going. And people mentioned that the otherworldly that was that you saw. The pause. So just like all of these things like feel to me very like apropos now in the world, given everything that's happening. And I know I personally and many people, probably everybody in this room, since the last few years on planet Earth, certainly since October. It seems like just the veil between worlds in a surreal way is kind of just getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And Elyakim very much felt that way as a character to me. It's like he would always like show up everywhere. He was like traversing the globe, and like wherever there were people, wherever the action was, he would just kind of somehow magically appear and say the right thing and see the right thing in each person and uplift them. And I just imagine like all these souls, these young, beautiful souls who had been died in horrible ways, Al Kiddush Hashem, and are like now kind of in the corridors on the other side, and like the need for like processing that's happening in that dimension. And I'm just imagining like the person who has like all the qualities that would be like perfect to like be there at this time and to kind of just show up in this surreal way would be Elyakim. And I imagine him there, I imagine him here, I imagine him everywhere. And like it's so perfectly orchestrated for him. There's this point in reality and this point in time. And I just want to honor all the beautiful things that everybody said, and all the beautiful things that he was, and every person in this room will feel the spark of Elyakim going forward, just like he was able to feel the spark of every person in this room, and many people not in this room.
Wait. Are you ready? No. Lisa. Hey, I already cut her off once, and I cut you off equally once. Come on. You gotta, you're given the opportunity. I don't wanna,
Yes, I hear you.
do it twice. You're next. Hey.
Elyakim was a longtime friend.
Like-
Sorry, Elyakim, I don't know. Elyakim was a longtime friend. So I'm just I'll try to share quickly, and I will, but I do have a couple things to share. Sorry, thank you. Can you hear me now? Elyakim Alexander ben Abraham Behena Tamar. Elyakim was born on Yom Kippur, and he returned to Hashem in the month of Adar, within a couple days of the date that Moshe Rabbeinu left this world. Yeah, no simchas, but also Eliakim's davening was like hands up, jumping, but so often hands up and like catching Shamayim. When I thought about his name, Elyakim, Eli is my God, and Chayim is to fulfill. His devekus to Hashem and the way that it was so palpable, and the way he fulfilled Hashem's will was in so many different ways. His kavana of presence, of journeying and growth, expansiveness. He was such a true seeker, loving, caring, deep communication. He was so invested in communication of listening, of listening and connection, but listening and then reflecting back. And I know there was a woman in Israel that he yes, so often, like over the years, and again recently, he wanted people to study with her. It was like spiritual, it was emotional, but it was so much about, the give and take of communication. And kavana to being present. He was very dedicated to family, friends, community, and strangers. Ongoing learning of Torah. He was joyful, like his learning of Torah, his davening. Also, I did notice within his neshama that he was so on the move, but over the years as he was learning Torah, I witnessed his vessel grounding, and he was still soaring. And honestly, like when I think about Elyakim, I feel like he was dangling from a shine. We often talk about having like the feet on the ground, and he was reaching up, but a lot of my image and connection, like to his neshama, is somebody who was, his devekus was connected to Hashem, but he was dangling down here and brings so much Torah and light and davening and connection and love and healing, and such a true seeker in the deepest ways. His chesed was endless. I mean, I'll just quickly jump to that. And I know it looks like there's a lot here, but I will quickly go up and try looking. So I was connected to him over the years and throughout. A week or so ago, I shared a piece from Steve Eisenberg's WhatsApp about a chayal, Omar Ben Tali, he should be with Refuah, who said he sent out, please have people daven for me because he didn't want his legs to be amputated. Elyakim was one of the people that I sent it to. And even though we were communicating, and he's here healing from the surgery, and he reaches out to me and he says, Judy Broad wants to connect with you because she wants, I'm like, he's healing from surgery, and he's connecting me to Judy Broad. Like his chesed was beyond endless. Selfless, humble, gentle, wise, purity of a child, and the playfulness of a child. Mentoring, teaching, his creativity, proud uncle. I'll share also, it was probably around a year ago, his sister was a ballerina in the New York City Ballet. I had the honor of going with him over the years, in addition to shooting hoops in Central Park. And before I get to this other, I remember years ago being on a Friday night, we'd gone to a Shabbat dinner, and there was a group of us, and we were walking by Central Park, and he said, let's go to the park. And we were hugging the trees. I remember the tree, like the location, this huge tree, sorry guys. And we were hugging, and like to the teva of Hashem's, the electricity of healing that Hashem puts in nature, like, and we were singing Nigunim and looking up at the stars, and we were hugging the trees for like nonstop at freaking like 3 o'clock in the morning. I want to share also just like I would just two more. Okay. Just two more quick things. But that connection with around Judy Brown was Erev Shabbos right before he passed. And I said, two more things. I wanted to learn a Torah in his honor. So I was listening to Yael Dworkin in Israel, and she has this whole piece on Ahavat Shabbadat. It's like, it's this knowing beyond that Hashem creates in the world. And even she said, like what we're going through now, I feel like it's like even the klipa of like terrorism and Amalek, she said, when we can get to that level, and she was quoting Rabbi Ashlag and Rabbi Nassim, and this is all Elyakim, I didn't know, and Purim and what's hidden. And it's just, I think it's so relevant. I'll conclude 1 second with Rabbi Trugman. I was learning Torah with him recently on imagination, which is Dimyun, I hope I'm saying it correctly. And he said Mashiach comes from Dimyun, which is imagination. Elyakim had the deepest imagination, Soar to Shemayim, child of God.
We're running out of time because we have to kind of reset the thing on if you're gonna get pressure now. Abe, 1 minute, please.
Less than
Less,
1 minute.
less than a minute,
Yeah,
30
Less than 30 seconds. I just want to know, this is not a spiritual thing, but I was very, I was a big fan of playing basketball on 76th Street. And on Shabbos afternoon, he and his friend over here, we used to play basketball together, and he was like you described, a ballerina. He didn't have the greatest shot, but somehow he just always beat us, We were playing, and we played, 3-on-3, and nobody had actually mentioned that, but he was a good ball player.
No, there was one of the eulogies was about that shot.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I mean, he was.
December 17th.
Yeah, it was, so I just want to say, besides his whole spiritual thing, he was, he had another song, he was a good ball player, and I since he had a show here, we always used to compare notes.
Thank you. Go, Rabbi Newman. The clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Shai's coming in soon for the Maariv, so. Maariv is on the way.
All right, I wanted to do this actually in the space of Malchus, it's David Malcha Mashiach, it's his sphere. And David Amela is all about dancing and singing for Hashem without thinking about oneself, and that's what David Amela did. When they brought the ark up to Yerushalayim, finally, the city that David HaMelech conquered himself, Shlomo tells us, and they built, and his son, of course, completed the Beit HaMikdash. So David HaMelech, when they were bringing the ark up to Yerushalayim, so he danced in front of it with complete abandon, with shira and shvacha, praise and song for Hashem, without any thought to himself. And I thought of that. So I was Zofa once when we were visiting Chol in the hospital, and he had been at a steady pace for a while. And then he went through a difficult descent, and he was in a critical, very, very critical situation. And so this is just was mind blowing to me. There was 1 or 2 of us in the room with him, and the folk couldn't speak. He could see us, but he couldn't say anything. And Elyakim, the thing you would think to do at that time like that is say to him, say songs, daven. But what did he do? He broke out in song. He was singing, but not just singing. He was dancing, and it was so
a sense of humor.
Mind blowing that he was. It was unbelievable. He was almost like willing him back to life. Not that Michal did have a great power and desire to live, but he wanted him to hold on. He wanted him to hold on. Don't give up. Don't let go. And he was just bringing this connection of simcha, of love, knowing that he's connected to everyone, all his chevra, all the Jewish people, and of course his kala more than anyone in the world. And he was just fighting with simcha for him to live. And mamish came through. He came through, and he struggled. After that, but he got into that crisis with his total selflessness and love. It was total love. That it's when someone sings, it's one thing. When you use your body, that means it's for real. It's for real, and that's what he did. And he was like David Malcolm Shicham. And this one last thing I have thought of today, very fast, is that we heard at the Levaya that Elyakim put down a down payment on a dira in the old city, 1 shekel. 1 shekel. So I said, wow, that's amazing. But then when it says Gemara says, the derech adam motilach molichin, in the way that a person wants to go from heaven, they bring him that way, they bring him further. So on the day that he had the accident, he was coming from a tish in Beit Vegan by the Amshanov Rebbe. So Amshanov, everyone knows there's Hasidic Standard Time, there's Torah Standard Time, and there's Amshanov's Standard Time. So he went all the way to Beit Vegan, which is miles, and up the hill and down. Anyway, so he spent that last Friday in Yerushalayim with the highs to the highs. And he's left in the beginning, in the middle of the Tish, and he came to this place where he fell, but he was falling as he was going into the old city towards the Jewish border. So when he is going towards the old city, towards the Kotel, towards where the base of Mikdash is going to be rebuilt. So his whole derech is to go towards Yerushalayim, towards Mashiach. And so I'm so clear that in heaven, he has, that shekel has been redeemed, and he is mamish in Yerushalayim Shalmala, and he has a beautiful dira, but he's not happy with that until we're all we have a Google Shlema down here, and he's davening and dancing before Hashem and telling him it's enough.
Amen.
Bring us in.
Okay, so we're gonna daven Marv. We're gonna daven Marv, so we're gonna need a few minutes to set up. I would let another person speak for a minute, but that doesn't happen. So I just want to say, somebody asked me, what can you do for Elyakim? And there's many things you could do for Elyakim. But I'm going to just mention a few of the things that are being done, and you could add your own. One, there is a custom to study Mishnayos. Up until the time of the Shloshim, there is on some websites a link to giving out the Mishnayos. So I signed up. Of course, I got an email an hour later saying that was already taken. Elyakim style, like it's a little bit chaotic, but it's still working. Can you take something else? So that's one thing you could do, is learn Mishnayos. Another thing you could do is Elyakim was a student of Rabbi Avraham Brandwein, and I don't like to advertise the competition because it's not really competition, but Rabbi Brandwein is his own Rebbe, one of my teachers, and he taught something that I'm going to call him Rabbi Elyakim, because Elyakim, this was his Torah. In the beginning, I was like, why is he going to Rabbi Brandwein? And then at the end is like, this is why he went to Rabbi Brandwein. To really understand what it is, because to give to other people selflessly, that's really who he was. And he needed a Rebbe to teach it to him so that he understood it from everything in the Torah, not just to be like a natural talent, but to be a talent that's also developed and learned. So you can do something. It sounds very trite, but that's what Elyakim did. That's who he really was. And he learned how to do it. He didn't just do it. He also relearned how to do it. So he could really do it on another level. So you could do something, whatever it is, that's a tribute to him. That's who he was. That's why so many people are here. And this is just this is not the actual Shiva. This is just the place that he lived and it was loved. Yes.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
What I've learned from today is that you just never realize how your kindness can impact others. Did you even realize how much he impacted other people?
Well, I think if he's watching us tonight, I believe he is, he's beginning to see the fruits of his efforts. And it is beautiful and it is amazing. And there's many mitzvos you can do. And I know there's a lot of people I'm already getting little videos of people doing learning in his honor and his memory. And and there's so much in the world that Elyakim was almost like a little Baal Shem Tov, going to these places where he was needed, where they needed him to bring up the energy, and just showing up, and he really graduated on so many levels from whatever it was that he needed to graduate from. He was always trying to like find the answers, and he really did that. And we should be a little bit more like Elyakim, to search out the truth and be joyous along the way. And I feel bad. The truth is, I didn't realize how many people would be here, and I wanted to teach the Kabbalah people you can't have an event for 5 hours, but this event really should have been for 5 hours. Yes, and it started at 7. It started at 7 o'clock. It started, so that's 3 hours. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But when I saw who actually showed up, how many people showed up, I was like, well, this maybe should have been for 5 hours. But on that note, we're gonna daven Mariv. Thank you. Stop.
Thank you, everyone.
Show the people that are. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Press leave.
Yeah.
And leave meeting. But I'm not the host.
Oh, so are we, if we're disconnected from Mari, is anyone interested
Are
in?
we, yeah, I'm on, but I think they cut us off. Yeah, you're on the
Okay.
phone, right?
Hi,
You're on the
I'm
phone.
still here.
Okay, so would it be okay if I told a story?
Yeah, if you can, and I'd like to tell one. We didn't get the chance to tell ours, so yeah, I'd like to hear yours. And then
Oh, well, go ahead.
You guys, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, I went this morning. It's really important to get on and tell his parents because they really, really appreciated stories about him. So if you can get onto that video, the Zoom tomorrow, 8 a.m., it's the last Shiva day. I really, 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 really recommend it.
Get on by the phone because my computer's all screwed up. I can't explain it. I can't get on the video part, but I can get on. Is there a phone option? Because I would.
Oh,
love
sure.
to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Every Zoom has that. Yeah.
So if I could have the link. Okay, so let me share. It's so sweet. So I'll start with, I only met him, some people just have the most amazing impact on you. So you don't have to know them a long time or many times. So I had only met him maybe 6 or 7 times total. But each time what struck me, before I tell you the actual story, I'm just giving a little prelude. I was just so immediately impressed with, the childlike, he was very responsible adult, but it was a gorgeous, childlike, pure quality about him. I noticed right away, and exuberance for life, for people. It was very sweet. I remember thinking, what a sweet, sweet neshama. Okay, that being said, and again, I had only met him several times, but I was impressed. He always wanted to help, always reaching out. Okay, so one night I was walking with little Tilly. Do you know Tilly? She used to come to the shul. She never wanted to say her age, but she was approximately 90. Okay. And tiny, only like 4'11", very frail, and she had very poor eyesight. So, and I hadn't seen Elyakim for several years at that point. I'd bump into him occasionally. Anyway, so I would walk her home after the service, after Havdalah, because it was dark out and there were cracks in the sidewalk, and, you know, she could fall, you know, she couldn't walk by herself. And she didn't like the idea of using a walker or a cane, you know. So anyway, so I was walking with her and, you know, headed to her house, and the call box at 79th, and her home is on 86 between West End and Riverside. So we're coming from Callbuck, walking along West End, and at that point we were maybe on 81st Street, going north. And all of a sudden, Elyakim appears, you know, like they were describing him magically appear. And, you know, I was saying to her, you know, I'll help look out for the cracks because I don't want you to fall. All of a sudden he comes, he's coming from uptown, and he bumps into us and he says, hi. I said, hi, Elyakim, how are you? He says, who's your friend, right? He immediately clicked with her. And oh, this is Tilly, this is Elyakim. And I thought, you know, we after the greeting, he'd be on his way because he was headed in the opposite direction toward downtown. And he goes, so where are you ladies headed? And so Tilly says, well, we just came from Callbuck, and Leslie, you know, was walking me home. And I said, you know, she said her eyesight is poor, so, you know, Leslie's helping me get home. And he said, can I walk with you? Is it okay? And I was just so, and she said, well, aren't you on your way to someplace? I don't want to hold you up. And he said, no, that's okay. I want to walk with you. And well, anyway, long story short, he's chatting with her. She's enthralled with him. But the thing that impressed me, you could tell, it wasn't just someone wanting to do a mitzvah. You know what I mean? Oh, I want to do this mitzvah. He really was interested in her. He was asking these questions about her, and she was just taken with him. She was enthralled, and they really had a real connection. And we're walking, and then we walked her all the way to, you know, the front of her building and inside the lobby. And he offered to take her upstairs, but she didn't want anybody going further than the elevator, you know, than the lobby. And it was just, I think he even took her number, you know, and he said, feel free to call me. And he gave her his number. And it's like they made buddies, you know, they were buddies. And it was just so sweet. You know, his love and compassion toward the elderly, it just melts your heart, you know. And I don't know, it was just one of many things that impressed me, but I just wanted to share that.
That's very sweet. Actually, some people said that similar things to him meeting new people on a different Zoom. It's really amazing.
I know, it's amazing how quickly people took to him, yet not surprising. He just was real, like real. You know, some people ask questions, but I'm not saying they're not sincere, but you know what I mean? It's more like, okay, I want to do something kind. No, he didn't do it just thinking to be, he really was kind. You know, it was him. He really, really was interested. And this is what really struck me, the purity. You can't always pick that up in people, you know, and everybody, but the purity of his soul. And when they mention childlike, that's exactly the way, what I was feeling and thinking, you know? Right? Yeah. It was just so, and someone said something really hit me hard when they said they can't say Baruch, you know, the Emet, what's the phrase? You know, Baruch Dayan Emet. When I read that, it was hard to read. I said, I can't say that because what judgment? You know what I mean? Like, what was there to judge about? You know what I'm saying? I mean, in terms of strictness, I mean, there's, you know what I mean? What did he didn't do anything to anybody that anybody would be upset about or, you know, hurt us soul. So, I mean, at least from my perspective. And I know it isn't about that, you know, that, you know, you did something wrong and so you die, you pass away. I know it doesn't work that way.
I thought people were saying they didn't want to say it because they don't want to face the fact that he's gone. And like, that's too shocking. So that's why they were having a hard time.
That too, it's shocking, but also it's like, you know, when you're saying God is a true judge, and I'm like, of all people that you know, what's there to, You know what I mean? It's like, why shorten this person's life? He's doing so much
Right.
good. Yeah, so
Um,
it's like, yeah, go ahead. What is your, I'd love to
Okay,
hear
so
yours.
just wait, logistics just for a second. Do you want to make other people also co-hosts? Like, are there people trying to come in to join this Zoom right now? Because I can't see anybody else. I don't know. Just that's a
Are
question.
you on the Zoom or are you on the phone only? What are you?
We're on Zoom. Most of us are all on Zoom. Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm just saying, in case, usually people will make multiple people co-hosts, so in case you can see if someone's coming in to like just let them in. That's one logistical point. Another logistical point is I was just going to say, if whoever is available to turn on their video and I tell the story, I would love that, just to see people and.
Yeah. So can we do? I mean, is everybody? Yeah, they're still davening,
Yeah, people
right?
have their, thank you so much. Okay, hi, my name's Aviva. I'm in Philadelphia. And so the other nights I was facilitating the Zoom. So I didn't want to like tell my own stories like a participant, but I really want to share this. And it's really like been bothering me and I don't know what to do with this story. I'm gonna be totally honest. It's a little like heavy. So one of my first memories of Elyakim, I think it was like around 2006 maybe or something. I don't know, 7. Was on I live in Philly, but I used to come to the Upper West Side and we'd go to like these fun, things, Shabbat dinners, maybe. And one of the ones he we were at, he was like, "Oh, I'll walk you home." No, I didn't have anybody walk me home. I didn't live in New York. I didn't know where I was going. I was going to my friend Holly's house, who the person that he just put their wedding together. And he's like, "Oh, well, I know where Tally's house is. I know where I can walk you home." I think it was from the like Shabbat Shebang JCC dinner. So I was like, "Okay, great." And as I said to Tally before they announced how he passed away, I was like, "My God, he's just so fun and childlike." I was like, my first memory, like really strong memory of him, is him walking me home on Shabbos on a Friday night, and it was raining, and he walked me to your apartment, and somehow I think I started singing. We're singing in the rain, just singing in the rain, and I thought for sure that he was going to be like, I guess I didn't know him that well, like be like, "Oh, be quiet or whatever." And, oh,
No,
wait, I'm
he was-
sorry. Hold on. Irene, can you hit stop recording for me? Do you know how to do that? It's in the top left corner. Hello, Irene. Oh gosh, we're losing our host. Hello? Can you stop the recording?
Anybody there?
It on for us, but I think she's in Marin.
She's in what? Oh, anyway, okay. I don't really want this recorded. Maybe she just lost her Irene?
She could be davening more. She's probably davening more.
Oh. Okay, if you can stop the recording if you hear this, that would be so appreciated. So anyway.
Chat.
What?
Write it in the chat to her.
Okay. Okay. So, and he, in response, just started singing more and was singing like right there with me and was doing that song. And